Hey there, welcome to Dr. Bob's Last Chance Garage. Fixing up some things on the driveway. Thought I'd take you along, show you what needs fixing, how to do it. Something that's needed fixing for a long time is the window switch on my 2006 Honda Insight. For about, a little while, I've had this sign on the dash. Do not use window switch. And that's because this switch is prone to failure. Unfortunately, Honda, as good as they are at designing things, did not do a good job in designing this switch. It becomes intermittent, it becomes flaky, so you got to replace it. Some people out there will have a 3D printed part that they will swap in for the broken part on the switch because it's just a little piece that breaks. I don't have a 3D printer, so it was cheaper for me to just go buy a new switch. Here's my new switch. I've had it for a while. Can I bring you in close to show you the date? When did I buy this? Looks like, what? Oh, that was just going to be a quick job back in 2022. We're now in the summer of 2025, and I'm just now getting around to this job. There are a couple of videos out there on how to remove this dashboard and how to get at this switch. Because all you got to do to get at it is just remove this panel, which clips on and is held on with just a couple of screws. In order to get that off, however, you got to drop the steering column a bit to get the clearance to pull the gauge panel off, or the surround actually. The gauge panel is screwed in as a separate piece. Once you pull that off, you disconnect the switch, but I haven't seen anybody out there who's shown how to disconnect the switch. I'm not sure if I have to pull the whole thing off and then get at some screws from the back, or if I can remove it while it's still connected with these other switches. We'll find that out together. All right, so come along. Let me show you what screws you got to remove. The dash screws you have to remove are pretty simple. There's only 3 of them. 2 of them are visible up underneath this binnacle. Love that word. So use a short, stubby screwdriver. That's what they look like. Not very big. And there are 2 of them up in the bottom of this dash surround, above the instrument panel, above the gauges. And there's a 3rd one hidden behind a little trim piece that just pulls right out, except you don't want to mar the surface. So just put a piece of paper towel or shop rag or whatever over that piece. Grab it with your pair of pliers and pull straight out. Those little clips come out. Then you can remove that final screw. For removing or lowering the steering column, there's 3 screws that hold this bottom trim panel in place. You've got to remove this trim panel and then remove the upper part of this panel. Okay, under the steering column, we've got 3 screws to remove. 1, 2, 3. Just regular Phillips head screws, nothing special about removing them. If you're really impatient, suppose you could use a power driver, but that's it. Simple machine screw with a Phillips head. Well, someone already been in here, loosened this one up. Somebody handily pre-removed a screw for me. So the next thing is this seam right here between the 2 halves. Just have to pry between them to pull this bottom piece down. And what hangs it up, as everyone notes, is the lock cylinder, which fits into this opening on the column. You got to pull it over and away from that. Sometimes it's better to pry away the other side, give yourself a little more flexibility. And actually the way it seems to work best is if you pry the top part off the bottom part rather than the other way around. I don't know how to explain it better, but get that piece loose. And then you can pull it down around that lock cylinder in this last little tab. That's the trickier one to get off. There we go. Pull that down. Pops off just like that. Exactly how I planned it. And indeed, that bottom screw was missing. Now the next order of business is lowering the column, which involves removing the 4 mounting screws, or nuts. I'm going to go in the engine compartment and disconnect the battery, as I've messed up too many things in my life with unintended shorts. So let me go disconnect that. Okay, from underneath you can see the 4 nuts that need to be removed, or at least loosened. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to zip those down with a 12 millimeter. Oh, I'm going to go get a little extension as they're up in there. There we go. That gives the column enough room to move down for me to remove this upper cover. So as you can see, I now have enough room to pull this whole unit off. Now this is held on with clips surrounding the panel. I've removed the 2 screws. Okay, for removing this, you need a thin edge tool to get between the panel and the dashboard. And once the clips start coming out, it's actually easier to get the next clip, and so on all the way around. There we go. Just ease it out, identifying where those clips are that are hanging it up, gently prying them out. You may have noticed the November date on my purchase of that switch. I didn't want to do this when the dashboard would be cold, because then plastic gets brittle and that's when it'll break. There we go. Let's see what I can get at. Well, doesn't look like I can get it much for that window switch. This right here is the back of the window switch. If I can depress this connector tab and pull that connector out, there we go. Then it's just a matter of removing the mounting screws. Now let's see. Maybe I move this out of the way. There we go. That's my FCD switch. Let's open up the package and see what the mounting pattern looks like. And it looks like it's held on by 3 screws. 1, 2, 3. Let's see how many of those are visible on the back of this panel. Not many. For the amount of hassle it's going to take, I might as well just remove all these connectors and have clear access to the back of the dashboard. Is that it? Was that it? Look at that. Okay, that was super easy. If you're going to remove the dash, To replace this window switch right here, just remove the whole thing. You've got 6 connectors. 1, 2, 3 on the right hand side that connect to 1, 2, 3 switches, radio control unit, whatever it is. And then 1, 2, 3 connecting to the 3 switch units on the left hand side of the dash. And they are super easy to remove. This car is 19 years old. They slid out, no problem. I just depress that lock tab, or that lock tab, or that lock tab. And then over here, the lock tab is on the bottom. It's for the radio unit, lock tab there. This one has a lock tab on top. And this one also has a lock tab, which is kind of sideways oriented. That means, look at that. The back of this switch is super accessible. So what do I have to do? Well, get my screwdriver, remove 3 screws, take out the old switch, and put in the new switch. You really want me to show you all that? Switch can only go in one way. Look at that. All right, only thing you missed, I tightened those 3 screws to replace the switch. Now I just plug them all back in, and it goes all back together by being snapped into place. Do make sure that the little metal clips on these extensions are there. They are what hold the dashboard panel in place against the rest of the dash. Let's just connect everything back up. All right, just line everything back up, and it snaps into place. Oh, that was sweet. Put that upper trim panel in place, maybe dust it off if you haven't dusted it in a while. And just for reference as to what is clipping onto what and you're removing when you are taking these 2 pieces apart, there's a little tab right in there that's grabbing onto this rectangular hole, and vice versa over here. So if you want to release it, push on the back of this, or push on this lower part here, and that will release the grip that tab has on that little square or rectangle, whatever you want to call it. Okay, let's get this upper trim panel in place so that when I tighten up these steering column mounting bolts, everything's where it should be. This lower panel is going to snap in place. Slide this grommet over that lock cylinder, and then snap those 2 pieces into place. Same on the other side, line things up. Oh, that is such a nice snap into place. One more screw on the right side of the dash. Pop that trim panel into place. Done. Let's go see if my power windows now work. So after 3 years, it's going to work. Oh my goodness, look at that. There we go. Ooh. Let's lubricate those window tracks and see if it gets any quicker. A shot of silicone. Wipe off the excess. Much better. Well, there you have it. Replacing the window switch on a 2000 to 2006 Honda Insight. Not very hard. Went real quick. Don't know why I waited 3 years to do it. Oh well, it's done now. And if you need to do it, you know exactly which screws to remove, which bolts to loosen, what you have to take off, what you have to put back on, and how it all goes back together. All right, so have yourself a good day. Good luck with your cars. Keep on working on them. Keep them going. Take care.